Hey guys, and welcome to this week's tutorial on ProRPA.com. Today, we'll be talking about data types. So, for majority of the times since we started off with the Blue Prism blog articles, we have been majorly dealing with the numeric data types, right? Well, the reason was because the examples are more easier to comprehend for everybody, but that's not the only data type that is supported within Blue Prism. Of course, that's not going to be the case. Otherwise, our scope of work that can be automated by Blue Prism would be very, very limited, right? So there are other data types that are also supported, and I guess it's not worth explaining that what would be the possible use cases of data types, right? Like we have data types related to text, which can store like alphanumeric characters. It can have like date time and all that stuff for specific, date time relevant data. So like usually what happens is that the functions that are supported within Blue Prism or any programming language whatsoever, right? The functions, the methods as we call them in some programming languages, those are specific to the data type on which they need to be performed upon, right? I have explained that in greater detail in the blog article, so if you haven't checked that out, I would ask you to please do so. The link for it is in the description for this video. And that is the possible use case, and that is the possible use for us to have different data types available or supported, right? So I'm going to showcase an example which, is going to make much more sense, and it's also going to showcase the beauty of the RPA application, the Blue Prism application. It's going to make our work very easy because we don't have to specifically take care of the formatting or the specific syntax, the syntactical expression that needs to be used to perform that computation, to perform that function. It will be taken care of by the expression builder, which is incorporated within the Blue Prism application. So without further ado, let's start that demo, right? First, let me take a data item. And this is the same example that I've also showcased in the blog article. Let's say its name is new date, right? And it's of type date, right? It can have an initial value, whether it's, I don't know, first date, 5th month of 2018, or it cannot have an initial value. That's totally up to us, right? And that's the current date that it holds, right? May 1st of 2018. And I want to add particular days or months or years, could be anything, to this particular date, right? You can imagine, right, that adding days is a function specific to date data types. It's not going to make sense to use add days for a text or for a numeric or for any other type of data. Like adding 20 days to an integer number called 34. What do you mean by adding like 20 days to 34? That's not an expression. That doesn't make any sense, right? For integer, for numeric expressions, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, all these make sense, right? These are the operations specific to those numeric types. Similarly, we have specific functions for text, for date, like the one I'm going to showcase here, for the Boolean, and there may be more, right? So let's probably adding for days or something like future date calculation, right? And in here, this is the area where we add the expression, right? We have showcased that before, and because we were just doing plus minus and stuff, so I just went with it. But you can see here are the functions specific to major data types, like if there's some specific data, whether it's date, whether it's some exceptions, which we'll be covering at the very end of our tutorial series. If it's number type, if there is some file, right, and you want to do some file grade data, like, you want to load a binary file, you want to load a text file, etc., etc., like way too many functions out here. For text, you want to concatenate it, right? Concatenate that particular, like, two strings to make it one. Let's say my name is Vaibhav Jain. I want to concatenate Vaibhav and Jain to make to store it, like my first name is Vaibhav, which is stored in a data item called first name, and Jain is another data item called last name, and I want to get my full name, which is going to be a concatenation of first name and last name. So you can use the concatenate operator, right? Similarly, you can go to a new line, the next line, and then append to the existing text, and something like that, or replace. If I want to replace Vaibhav with Abhi, then you can use Abhi and just, the text that needs to be replaced and by what value it needs to be replaced with. So this makes our function, like, stuff very easier. And this expression builder is what I was talking about. For the date function, right? I want to add days. So here's what I have to just click on, add days. I just have to select this function, and what's the date that I want to add to? I want to add to my new date data item, whatever the initial value of it is. And how many days do I want to add it to? Let's say I want to add 20 days to it, right? And that's it. Those are the only two operands needed. And also the function detail, right? They add a number of days to a date example. Like, they also give an example, right, how this needs to be done. If there's a static value like 1/2/2005 and I want to add 20 days to it, this will result in this particular date. Then this example, the static value, which is in double quotes and everything, this provides a very, very good explanation of what this function is gonna achieve, right? That's gonna solve most of our work. So always pay attention to these functions, and with time I'm sure you'll get a more grasp on how these functions are to be used, and without even looking at them you can just use them. Or many times I don't even go through this whole function expression builder capability. I just directly type it down here, but there's no harm in using this functionality because it's amazing, trust me, right? In actual programming languages, we usually have to type all this stuff. If we want to use an existing function, then we have to type each and everything, which becomes really difficult. And sometimes we do Google and see how, these functions are to be used. What are the parameters that need to be passed to this particular function, right? Within the braces here. So, well, you just added the two operands and just click on the paste, and you see that the expression is automatically generated in here. Now, where do you want to store this value, this computed, this adding the 20 days to the new date data item? Where do you want to store it? Well, I want to store it back into the new date data item itself. So I do that, and to check whether this function is syntactically correct or not, just click the validate button once, and it says the expression is valid, which means we're all good, right? Hit OK, and just link it to the start and the end stage, reset, and just press go and see if it works or not. And you see that the new date has been shown to us. So it was actually the date that I was, because it's in MMDD YY format, so it's first month, but it was 5th of January. So the 5th of January got added with 20 days, and now it's 25th of January, right? And you can definitely set that up as well based on what your system currently holds. For me, that's the way I have put in my date variable, so that's how it's gonna respond to. Right? Fairly simple. I can provide you for a text variable another example, right? The one that I just showed you, I was just voicing over it. First name, right? Which is a text value of, let's say, Vaibhav with the initial value. And I also have something called last name, and that's Jen. And now all I want is my full name, right? No initial value at all, right? Now, full name computation. And I don't know how to use the functions, right? That's a very good possibility. Majority of the times I won't know a function because, again, nobody could know each and every function. That's totally fine. You don't have to even Google anything. Just go to text and see which of these possible functions you can use, and go to its function detail as well and see if that actually solves the purpose. For me, I know concatenate makes sense. So I'm gonna just put in first name, last name. I'm gonna paste it, and it automatically generated the expression for me, right? Which is this and operand, this and operator as per se. And if I want to add any, like a space in between, I can also show you. Nope, it doesn't make any sense, right? Because it does not store any result yet. So I want to store it in full name. Now if you validate the expression, you see that the expression is valid, right? So it's always, I mean, it actually comes automatically to me, right? I would, as soon as I would write any expression, I would always want to validate it, and that gives me an idea. Oh, I forgot to add the store result in parameter, right? Where do I want to store the value of this function, this computed value? And now between the first name and the last name, I've also added a space, right? So when this the first name and the last name was generated via this function builder, this expression builder thing, then I sort of made sense out of it, and I knew that if I want to concatenate more and more stuff, I just have to use the and operator, right? So I just added a static space in between, and I added the last name, and I'm all set. Hit OK, full name computation, and in here, reset, running, and you see, Vaibhav and Jan has a space in between. If there was no space, there was no static space that I had added, Vaibhav and Jan would have been concatenated like one after the other without any space in between, right? So that's a really, really great and sophisticated way for us to use the functions, the pre-built functions that are supported within Blue Prism. All right, we are going to use this function builder, a lot of times in our subsequent blog articles. So please do check it out and do, get some more hands-on experience. Try, even if you think you understand the numeric data type much better, try to use it. It's totally fine. Try to use some other examples that you can come up with. I'm sure with practice, it's going to come really handy, and you'll get the grasp of the whole subject matter, right? Perfect. This is it for this week, guys. If you want to, get more thorough experience on Blue Prism or UiPath or ServiceNow, the IT service management software, please do check out the CRISPR Learning book series available on Amazon, and the video tutorial series available on Udemy and Skillshare. I also have a Skillshare referral link in the description here. So if you want to, use that referral link, that's going to be really helpful, because it's going to give you 2 months of free premium subscription. So you can go through all these tutorials for free, and for 2 months you'll have complete access to all the other tutorials, right? I'm not saying like mine are the best, but there might be more stuff out there that you may want to learn. Then the world is out there for you to conquer, right? Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Look forward to the next blog post, which will be next Thursday for sure, and happy automating. Goodbye.